Hello everyone and welcome to another game I played on Ptcgo. For this match I'm going to be trying a modified version of Fairy Klang, I guess. So this is Klinklang with Aromatisse and Cobalion and Skarmory, of course, as attackers. Sort of a new version of Plasma Klang that I tried out a little bit before. My opponent sort of reveals a Blastoise deck. It starts off with a Squirtle. I'm going to start off with a Spritzy, and she's going to heavy ball for a Kyurem EX. So not something you see in Blastoise decks all that often, but I mean it's not a terrible card. It's just that Black Kyurem is so much more popular than this non-Black Kyurem or regular Kyurem EX. She's going to Ultra Ball and get herself a second Squirtle, so not the start I want to see. But I can deal with Blastoise here with this deck, and Keldeo, which she gets after Juniper. So I'm going to put down a Fairy Garden, hoping I could potentially retreat this Spritzy if I get the right combination of cards. Here I'm debating whether or not I should Ultra Ball, and I decide to. I get rid of a Fairy Energy and a Escape Rope. I'm going to get myself a Cobalion EX, that's the main attacker here, with a Skarmory here, also teched in there. I'm going to attach a Rainbow Energy and then just Sycamore my hand away. I'm going to put down a second Spritzy, and here I get another Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of a Klinklang and a Sycamore, and get myself a Klink. So hopefully in a few turns I will have both Klinklang and Aromatisse. So Klinklang will prevent all damage done to any metal Pokemon by any EX Pokemon that your opponent has, and Aromatisse will allow you to move energy around, so giving you that sort of classic Klinklang effect. So my opponent benches down another Kyurem. Keldeo is going to attach energy, and then she's going to rush in. She has a Float Stone, so she can retreat, and goes into Kyurem, which has 2 energies and can outrage for 30. So right now I'm going to attach another energy onto Klinklang, or sorry, to Cobalion, bench a second Cobalion and Juniper my hand away, or Sycamore, sorry. I'm going to evolve that Kling into Klang and evolve Aromatisse, or evolve into Aromatisse. That's more accurate there. And here, don't really have much to do. So I'm just going to end my turn. It's not worth attacking here, even though I can move energy around. Since I can knock out Kyurem, attacking now will just power up its outrage attack, and I definitely don't want to do that. So my opponent now, I'm really just hoping she doesn't get a Blastoise right now. Her main attacker, once I get Klinklang, if I manage to do so, which I will if she doesn't end me, and that Skyla means I won't get end, so that's great. Her main attacker will be Blastoise, since she won't be able to hurt any of my metal Pokemon. So she goes for the rare candy. And does this mean she has a rare candy Blastoise in the works? And it looks like she does. So this doesn't mean the game will be easy, but it does mean the game will be much easier, since she's essentially only able to accelerate to Blastoise itself, which isn't a super attacker in this situation. So now here she's going to outrage for 30 again, knocking out the Spritzy and taking the first prize. I'm going to send up my Cobalion. I do top deck a Rainbow Energy. I'm going to Heavy Ball, get myself another Klink just to thin out my deck a bit too. And I will evolve into Klinklang and attach a Rainbow Energy, and I can Steel Bullet for 100 damage. So now my opponent cannot attack me with her EXs, but she will Professor's Ladder here. If she can get enough energy on that Blastoise, she could technically knock me out, but that would take way too many to do it in one shot. But let's see what her plan is. Since she doesn't play Black Kyurem, that also probably means she doesn't play any other energies other than water, so that may increase her odds of drawing into it. So now we see 3 energy, it looks like, on Blastoise, or 2. It's short of attacking, and definitely short of the knockout. So will she just let the Kyurem lay up there is the question here, or will she rush in with Keldeo? We see a Skyla. Since this is really not a conventional Blastoise build, I don't know what she's going to go for here. Maybe a rare candy again. If she plays that, it looks like she goes for an escape rope instead. So she's going to use that, and I'm just going to send up my second Cobalion since it can't be hurt. And she's going to send up Keldeo with a Floatstone so she can retreat, and then she chooses to send up a Squirtle here as a sort of a sacrifice. Maybe it'll buy her a turn, but that's not really going to be too beneficial here, since it doesn't look like she's hitting any energy anytime soon. So I'm going to attach to Cobalion. That gives it free retreat thanks to the Fairy Garden. And I'm going to hit Squirtle for the knockout and take my first prize. And I draw a Fairy Energy from the prize. My opponent sends up her Keldeo here, and then she benches another Squirtle, this time the bad Squirtle, or the one with lower HP and without an ability. But really she'll need to get continuous streams of Blastoise if she wants to stand a fighting chance. She's going to Dowsing Machine here for another Professor's Ladder, so that'll be her way of getting energy in hand quickly. And since she doesn't play Black Kyurem, she likely doesn't play many superior energy retrievals, if any at all. So now she's going to attach 2 energy to Blastoise and then play an N, leaving me with an okay hand. I do get that max potion, and she's going to hit me with Hydro Pump for 100. So here what I can do is actually switch into my clean Cobalion that has no damage onto it and just Fairy Transfer energy onto it so I can start attacking with it. And this is the annoying part of my deck, that if you cannot one-shot, it's really hard to gain the upper hand here. So I'm just going to take all the energy off of it, attach the bench Cobalion, and attach a rainbow onto it just so it takes the damage. Then move energy off using max potion, and just like that, all the damage from my side of the field has been wiped out, sort of resetting her strategy. And I will use Fairy Transfer to move it back off and Steel Bullet here for 100. So here she needs a massive amount of energy to be able to knock out Cobalion, and even if she does, I can easily get the return knockout since this Blastoise is heavily damaged. She's going to evolve into a second Blastoise on the bench using a rare candy to do so, and then a heavy ball here for another Blastoise, but there isn't a Squirtle on the bench, so it's not going to do her much good. And then she ends her hand away, so being able to draw a fresh hand of 5. Just going to start attaching this time to the undamaged Blastoise on the bench, realizing that in case any other energy attachment is wasted. And here the big thing is that there's energy on her field that isn't attached to a Pokemon named Blastoise. It looks like there's some energy on Kyurem, so if she doesn't play Superior Energy Retrieval, that energy is dead, as long as those Pokemon are not knocked out. So here I'm going to retreat my Cobalion, play down a Keldeo of my own, level ball for an Aromatisse, and just play a Super Rod here, bringing back a Spritzy, a Fairy Energy, and something else there. And then just play a Shauna for 5. I get another Spritzy, I will bench that, and just Steel Bullet for the knockout. So here, if my opponent plays a Sycamore, she can just bring up the damaged Cobalion and knock it out, but I've spread my energy out evenly where this won't be entirely devastating since they'll still have enough to attack. So she's going to send up Keldeo here because it has a Floatstone. Looks like she's powering up that Blastoise. She benches another Keldeo with a Floatstone, and this time ends me down to 4. And we see an energy retrieval, so she does play the regular energy retrieval. But again, I don't think the superior energy retrieval would be entirely needed in this type of deck that she's playing. And with those two energies, she now has enough to attack with Blastoise. She'll be able to hit me for 100, but again, that's not enough for the one shot. And I did get a max potion off that N she used. So here I'm going to do the annoying thing, of course, and fairy transfer this energy around, sending it on to Keldeo. I will actually lose that metal energy I have on Cobalion, since that cannot be transferred off. But I do like to play a few basics just in case my opponent plays a hammer happy deck, and it doesn't look like she is, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I did max potion all that damage off, and now I just move that energy back on to Cobalion so I can Steel Bullet for 100, once again applying some major pressure on her side. So here she can keep the Blastoise in the active, but she has no response after that. It looks like she's going to play a Muscle Band and bench another Squirtle. She plays a Colress for 10. She's going to rush in with Keldeo. Will she just retreat to Squirtle here? That's the big question. Or leave Keldeo off as fodder. Looks like she goes with Keldeo. I can't knock it out in one shot. So I'm just going to Righteous Edge, or Steel Bullet, sorry, for 100. And I did attach a Fairy Energy onto Aromatisse in that past turn. So now my opponent actually here plays a Lysander. So with that, she's actually going to bring up Klinklang. She's going to attach more energy onto Blastoise here. It looks like 2 more go on it. And with that and the Muscle Band, that's enough for the knockout. So 140 damage, and she knocks out Klinklang. So my metal Pokemon are once again vulnerable to attack, although I think it's not too devastating here, just because I've decimated her resources. So I'm going to play a Surprise Megaphone here, and just Steel Bullet Blastoise for the knockout and the prize lead. And with that, I leave her with not really enough energy to attack for a knockout right now, which she critically needs a knockout here. She's going to send up Kyurem. She can Outrage, and she's going to end me. But right here, I can still move energy around, which is still something that she has to contend with. We see another rare candy into Blastoise, and maybe just an Outrage here. But she has very few options, since I think most of the energy just hit the discard pile right now. And she's going to hit me for 150 with the Muscle Band she just attached. So it's a little bit scary, but fortunately here I did bench a Skarmory a few turns earlier, I think last turn, and we'll be able to Fairy Transfer the energy onto it, and I can hit for the knockout here with a Tailspin Pile Driver, I believe is the attack, and hit it for 240, since Kyurem is weak to metal Pokemon. And I take 2 prizes, and the game is all but over, since she has 1 energy on a Kyurem. So she can Outrage for 20, I believe, or 30. It's not enough to do much here. So, and she has about 4 cards in her deck, so she's really had to burn through a lot to deal with the Plasma Clang. So she just passes, and I'm going to hit for 160. Just shy of the knockout, but doesn't look like she'll be able to do much in response. But I was wrong. She does play Superior Energy Retrieval. So she's going to discard 2 things. She'll be able to bring back 4 water energy from the discard pile. So that means she can get a big hit off of here. But unfortunately, with Black Kyurem, or with regular Kyurem, you can't get a 1-hit knockout that you can with Black Kyurem. So she hits me for 150, and that's not enough for the knockout, so that is game. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, although I wouldn't recommend playing this deck in the current format due to Pyroar.